Welcome to WorkLife Namibia. As Namibia marks Workers' Day, major questions face our country. What role should workers and trade unions play in building a fairer and more prosperous Namibia? How do we ensure new economic opportunities benefit ordinary Namibians? How do we build an economy that creates more jobs? How do we protect dignity, fairness, and security at work? To discuss these issues, I am honored to be joined by Comrade Job Muniaro, Secretary General of the National Union of Namibian Workers. Mr. Muniaro, thank you for joining us.
Thank you very much. Thank you also for the interest you have.
Okay. Now, Comrade Muniaro, many Namibians have heard of the National Union of Namibian Workers, or the NUNW, but may not fully appreciate what is its current role and what is its reach. Can you please introduce the NUNW to our viewers, including which sectors of workers NUNW represents, NUNW affiliates?
Thank you so much. NUNW stands for National Union of Namibian Workers. NUNW is a federation under which trade unions are falling. We have Nafino, we have farm workers, we have a domestic workers union, we have Natau transport union, we have Namihu music union, we have Manbu construction union, we have mine workers union, we have Public Workers Union, NAPU, and then we have NUNW, Namibian Teachers Union, that are representing the teachers.
Okay.
That's the 10 affiliates of NUNW.
Now, from the workers' perspective, how important is trade union representation in Namibia today, particularly in a changing economy?
See, the trade unionism, the whole world did not just come because people wanted to form just unions or just organizations. And they were not just formed there to just be recognized and respected. The rights of workers during colonialism, during that time, has never been respected, has never been recognized. There was a lot of slavery under which Namibian workers were suffering. When you look into those olden days, workers were working uncounted hours. You take it. If you don't want to take that job, you will get a sambok to take that job. So it's completely slavery that was happening by those years. The workers tried by all means to make sure, how are we going to defend ourselves against this slavery? The only option was, we were learning from other countries, or learning from other workers, and they were advised to form a union under which the workers are going to unite, speaks one language in terms of their rights, speaks one language in terms of the torture they are experiencing, possibly extend this torture, making it a crime, and report it to the International Labour Organization. So 1970s, somewhere 72, 73, there around, NUNW was formed in exile in order for them to represent workers that are under torture in this country of ours, under the colonial people, under some box of kufuts and all those ones, so that they can be freed from this maltreatment. That's the purpose of the NUNW and its affiliates.
Now, what do you find to be the employers' attitudes towards trade union representation?
You see, some diseases are very good to be treated and you get healed. Some of them becomes chronic. Some employers has accepted the country is independent, we are free. They have accepted the labor laws, the Labor Act, but they have not come to a stage where they respect that law. So there's now and then some employers, not all of them, but in a minimal number, that are actually still ignore the Labor Act, that are still think the olden days, the way they have been treating the workers was more profitable than now. They feel there's no need for them to count working hours. There's no need for them to pay overtime. In some areas you still found people are still stagnated to the attitude of being a boss, not being a leader or not being a manager. So we still have a long way to go with some of the employers.
Now, when an employer recognizes a trade union as the representative of the majority of its employees, there's an obligation to engage in collective bargaining. Can you explain for the benefit of the viewers what is collective bargaining and how can it or does it benefit both workers and employers?
Yeah, collective bargaining agreements, it's agreements that actually set a tone for you as an employer and employee. How you will deal with workers' issues at workplaces. How do you negotiate fairly in terms of workers' benefits? Either whatever benefit it is, whether salary, whether housing, whether transport, but that gives you a guarantee of a fair negotiation. But sometimes the bargaining, the recognition agreements, there's a time where it is not fully respected, more especially when it comes to the right to strike, where you find you have strike rules that was emanated from the bargaining agreement, where you have dissatisfied yourself with the demands of the request of workers, an unresolved certificate issued, and where the strike rules are drafted and signed by both of you, and after signing that, one of you violate those rules. So it's not an easy task because the concentration of employers in most cases is to make profit, to make more money, but not to take care of the ordinary work of the company.
Now, how can collective bargaining contribute to dispute resolution and to national development if it's conducted in good faith?
If any person, whoever it is, whether it's a country whether it's a business, whatever business it is, whether it's at a farm, when three things are at that environment, the first of one should be the love of the people together, that development of that love together, and the respect of those people as human beings, respect to each other, and the honesty of those people to each other. The workers will actually change their minds and make sure that this company is not just Muniaro's company, it's a company that we ought to protect, all of us. They will own the company, they will protect the company if the presence of those things that I mentioned is there. Unfortunately, you find a person saying the owner of the company. The owner of the company has not even seen a single person that works for him. All those people are only handled by the so-called managers and the HRs. So it's become difficult when a board says, or the owners of the company says, we will not pay above this money. But you have not considered the situation of the challenges under which the workers are working. Some of them, even those managers that are employed there, they will tell you, I've paid you taxi money, must be on time. But this person, to be on time at your place, he must at least wake up 4 o'clock to catch either the bus or to catch a taxi to be there. And you're only going to count your working hours from 8 o'clock up to 5. And he will only reach home 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock or something to 8 because of the traffic on the road. Some of those things are not considered. And some of those unfairness is not there. People have minimal hours to rest, minimum hours to be with their families. So we need to be very, very considerate when we speak about the well-being of the company, or the well-being of employers, the well-being of the workers, as you have mentioned.
You mentioned one of the challenges, the challenge of having to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. What are other of the biggest on-the-job challenges that Namibian workers face today? And what are the biggest challenges facing their families?
You see, when you have a company and that is challenged by knowledge, that is challenged by skills, if you don't train your people in service, if you don't upskill them, if you don't reskill them, the company is at the risk of not being productive enough. That's one of the challenges. One other challenge is violence at workplaces.
Mm-hmm.
That is sort of becoming a disease with most of the companies. If you don't do this, I will not promote you, or I will not allow you to work overtime. Those abuses, those stress at work, those violence at work, it's a challenge because when the moment you stress me at work, the children at home, the wife at home, the girlfriend at home, they will all face the consequence of the violence that are at workplace. That is a disease that will be transferred to the family, and the family life is destroyed. That's one of the consequences that are there. And the issue of tribal leadership. tribal leadership in terms of some companies, looking into each other's colors. I don't know how black should you be to be a better black person. How white should you be to be a better white person? I think we should run away from tribalism and concentrate more on the people who are productive, who has the knowledge, and recognize those ones. You can't be supervised by a person who are taught by you the work, how work is done. You are a manager of the company, but the employees on the ground are the ones that are teaching you how the work must be done or how it should be done. That's one of the challenges that actually frustrate the employers. And they start saying, that's not my job to do that. It's your job. Do it yourself. When you say that, you brought in a torture to yourself. But you are not paid for that. You are doing this job for someone else who will get the salary on your exploitations of your knowledge, on the exploitation of your knowledge.
In which sectors do you believe workers face the greatest difficulties in terms of wages, conditions of work, health and safety, and their overall treatment? Are there some industries that are particularly problematic?
You see, comrade, in all sectors,
Mm-hmm.
there is no sector that you will not find any problem. Sometimes you are given something to do, but that specific instrument are not serviced on time, are not done, it's not up to standard, it's a substandard issue, and you are expected to perform miracles with that. Goes to the transport sectors. A person is expected to deliver with a truck, a load, within 24 hours. Tell me, when is this guy going to rest and where? If he's a truck driver. And if you are told today is Monday, make sure Wednesday morning you deliver. Which hours is left? You only drive throughout the whole night. You have less time to make your, because it's a high concentration issues. Your brain hardly concentrate. You only have to rest behind the steering wheel for two hours and hit the road. Go to some areas. An ambulance driver driving a patient, and you are told you are on standby for the whole of the week. And this person, even if he is well qualified to handle patients as an ambulance driver, or maybe having an experience of pre-medical something, first aids. That's not a certificate that do the work. That's the human being that is doing the work. Are we respecting those human beings? Are we really fair to these people? We can go down to nurses. Go down to police officers. They must do their work 24 hours. Even if you are off today, you are still on standby. Anything happened, you are called back. You go do that job. Tomorrow morning, 7 o'clock, you must report at your shift. Even though you have been doing some extra work. Now, some of those institutions, they hardly have overtime. You sacrificed for the rest of your life until you get 60. There's a lot of sacrifice in the jobs that we are doing. Because salaries that people are getting are not matched to their job, what they're doing. The poor teachers teaching a class of 92 children in a classroom under a tree. That's harsh circumstances, not recognized. Where they have to go and fetch water at the river and facing the consequence of crocodiles, dirty water. There's no clean drinking water, enough clean drinking water. In some areas, not all areas, in some areas. But the fact is, the 92 children in a classroom, and you are expecting miracles from that teacher. He tells you that person is teaching from morning to the next morning, because he must moderate those kids, he must mark, he must make sure they are writing exams, he must make sure they teach them professionally to understand and pass what you must do. So it's the torture is all over. So the pressure to the workers is all over. It's people who really loves their country, who really wants to keep the stability of our economy, who really loves to grow the economy through their sacrifice.
On the question of wages, you often hear that even professionals such as teachers have a lot of problems with debt. They are not, many people couldn't dream of owning a home. They somehow have to manage on what they get, but the cost of living keeps rising. There's extreme income inequality. What can we do about this situation?
It's a very difficult question. Actually, a provoking question. Imagine a person starting as a teacher with a salary of 20,000. Then you deduct everything that needs to be deducted. You end up with 16,000. From that 16,000, he must make a living, she must make a living, or he must make a living. Equally buy a house under which you are going to live, to go to work from and to. Now, there is a lot of exploitation on a salary of a person. Taxes are high. Food are high. Anything that is there to guarantee or to save the life of an ordinary worker has become very expensive. Today, you say the cost of Windhoek is expanding to very far. You find people are commuting from Okahanja to Windhoek.
Oh, yes.
Not because they want, it's because that's the only open land that is there to develop a house or to build a house. The most painful thing is, I'm always calling it's theft. It's robbery. How do you buy a car for 1.5 million or for 800,000, for instance? The bank only allows you to pay that car for exactly 60 months or 70 months. The car is finished paid. You buy a house for 700,000, 800,000, 1 million. You must pay that house in 20 years. I calculated one day. When that person finishes paying that house, the bank sits with money of that person that could have bought 3 to 4 houses.
You're talking about the interest payments.
By the interest payment and by the period of 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
A car, I only pay 60 months, which is 5 years, approximately. 5 years, the 1 million car is paid off. In 20 years, if I have to pay the same amount for that car, for that house. I've actually paid for 4 houses, 3 houses in 10 years. What type of arrangement is that? What type of laws are that? And we allowed these people to be highly exploited in such a manner. They must scrap all those laws. Scrap them, bring them equal to say, my house, my installment of that house is 15,000, like any 15,000 I pay for a 1 million car. With insurance, within the next 6 years, I've paid my house off. Now for the rest of my life, I'm paying a house. At the end, if I did not pay the house, they must actually deduct from my pension that I was supposed to survive from, so that I pay off the house and go home naked and start selling this house immediately because I cannot maintain it. The funds that I was supposed to maintain the house for. So it tells for this person for the rest of his life, you work for that house, after you have not paid it, you still have 5 years to go, your pension, the whole pension is taken off. Now you must sell the house because you cannot afford to keep the house alive. You are buying a house, you pay tax. After paying that tax, there is another tax brought in, it's a land tax. After you have paid the tax already to government, you still pay land tax to municipality. For the rest of your life, you pay tax for that house. What was the need to charge person a tax when he was buying the house? If I have the rest of my life pay, until I die, I must pay tax. Land tax for that house. Those type of taxes must be clearly be marked and legalized the other way around, because otherwise we will not change the life of an ordinary Namibian. It's completely an unfair situation when it comes to your question, community.
Okay, now I'm coming to the youth. How can unions help young people working in casual, temporary, or driving yangos, or working in the informal economy? How can the unions benefit them?
You are right on the spot. It's not just wanting unions or youth to become members of a union. It's not equally just to say, how can unions? If the person is an informal trader, there must be a place where he's buying his stock from. If I'm buying my stock from brewery and Coca-Cola, Namib Mills, why don't these people teach or take the consequence of saying, I'm going to teach these people how to prepare fat cook, how to prepare hamburger, how to prepare this thing, how to be also on your own to be a waiter at your own place. The safety and the health of the food that you are cooking, how you should be dressed. These companies, together with trade unions, we are the ones to take each other's hands to make sure these people are really in the industry. During holidays where the schools are closed, why don't we take those people to Polytech Hotel to test them again and teach them how to prepare food and make sure that they have quality nutrition food at their stores where they are selling, so that anybody can feel the moving restaurant or any corner of a person safe to say, I'm going to have safe and clean food, because these people are trained, these people are capacitated to be waitress on their own. They know how to serve people, they know how to prepare this food and all those things. That will actually provoke them to build their businesses further to become a restaurant and to become an attractive place because the quality of the food is there. Equally, when the certain hotel is having a workshop or anything, they can actually go and order fish from those or chickens from those people because they are trained to produce quality and healthy food. That's a lack that we had, all of us. We become selfish because some of those people are restaurant owners and all those things. But we need to be participating in the upskilling and the teaching and training of these people in those fields where they are operating from. Look at the road to Rehoboth now.
Mm-hmm.
Those people are doing quality tables, quality chairs, those things. I've never heard of all of them being given a tender to supply those equipments to our hotels, to our schools, to our hospitals, or clinics. But they're doing wonders there. They are doing wonders. They must be tested, they must be certified or registered and certified and be able to supply even to government. Why should we import furnitures from China to our offices well, we have furnitures here that we don't want to recognize? That's the type of the attitude that we need to talk about. We can create jobs for ourselves. The president's demand of 500 jobs, I support it 100% because we can do it. We can do that in 5 years' time if we provoke this. We have people in the rural areas that are farming, but the milk that are going to those schools are coming from Windhoek. Government are paying kilometers per kilo to take fresh milk to that school. While the farmers are sitting there with the milk and meat. With the Burawas, they can do that. They can supply meat to those schools. Empower those people in that area, in the field of farming. People will love farming, will want to farm, will want to be one of the suppliers to hospitals in the area, and the money will be circulating. Now people, it's been discouraged, even whoever has 100 cattle, there's no business. They are running to Windhoek to look for a job. Why should we promote that way? Food security. Let's see how can we already train the people who are in the field. People in the north, all of them has gardens. All of them make their own food. Why don't we do extra food? In China, people are making food and all the government is buying those food, paying them out and distribute to other people. Because they have capacitated these people, they have trained them enough. Why you see up to the eldest person in China wants to go to the garden and produce rice and produce something. Who wants to do that? We are sitting with onions getting rotten here. We are still importing onions from outside. The dairy farmers, the milk farmers, they cannot up their stocks because milk are coming through South Africa from India, wherever they are coming from, to here, suffocating the farmers that are in those fields. So some of those things we must put handbrakes on them. We must making sure we motivate, train Namibians to do that, to supply that, and motivate them. In olden days when I was young, we were supplying cream and whatever. People are making fat. Why don't we say to those animals that are making fat from milk, why don't they supply us with that fat to school? It's nice, tasty. That tastes better than cooking well. But it's not because yes. So how do we want to say we must now speak about informal economy that we are ignoring? We need somewhere to have a specific meeting on informal economy and informal traders and the youth in development.
Now, does our education and training system prepare Namibians adequately for the jobs of the future?
A small yes and a big no.
Mm-hmm.
Because our curriculum of education does not produce people that are actually adding value to our minerals and products of this country. There's something that I really does not want to talk about that because I will lose my language in terms of respect. We're actually exporting jobs because our curriculum of education does not speak to that. You export your jobs. If you want to say, I want a hydropower station somewhere to supply electricity, what do? Nothing. Curriculum of education must say, I have those people who can enrich the uranium, establish from scratch a nuclear power station, hydropower engineers that we have that can actually deal with hydropower electricity. So, and also making sure we have a seawater desalination plants, enough to supply enough water, even for free to Namibians. In order for us to say, your backyard must be green. Now you say people must plant behind your backyard garden. The water is extremely expensive. It's so expensive that you no longer even want to take a bath. And we are saying our country is surrounded by sea. Our sea stretches almost 1,800 kilometers at the side. How many rivers do we have? It's totally a lot of rivers. There's so many laws that say that the law says don't touch this water. When are you going to touch your water for the benefit of your own people? So value addition can only be realized with qualifications, by qualifications. And that qualification was a change of curriculum of education. That will guarantee jobs, more jobs in the country, more value added. Now we export all our minerals, cheap, raw. When they come back, we cannot even afford to buy them. Now they are so expensive. Look at a small solar panel that I must buy for 400 and 1,200, a small one. And that one can only supply a light in your place, just like a candle. You pay 2,000 for that. Instead of having a nuclear plant, where I can actually buy electricity for 1,000 for actually 2 months or 3 months. We have that capacity. We can have windmills there, but we cannot produce windmills because Lutherans is full of wind. Why are we not using that wind to produce windmills? But now you must import a windmill from Germany. When it is stuck, you must buy parts from Germany. Those are the worries of what COVID has asked me to. If we address those worries, this country will be one of the richest countries. We have only 3 million people, and all of them cannot be poor, because our country is much richer than our own people.
Now, as we all know, we are entering this era of opportunity through oil and gas, green hydrogen, mining, logistics, and infrastructure. At least there's a promise of these things. How can we ensure that these opportunities create decent jobs for Namibians?
It's a blessing. It's a blessing for this country that we have such a very caring president, Robert Netumbo, who has a heart for the well-being of Namibians. In fact, we are lucky that the oil and gas issue is coming to be realized during her term of office. So, going forward, I'm saying if we can strengthen tripartism, if that can be strengthened, oil and gas will come as one of the rescue of the economy of this country. Imagine if fuel will be cheap and affordable, business will grow, business will expand, people will take business as far as possible. Now people cannot even petrol by itself, you cannot take petrol to Gambia. The truck will tell you the road is too bad. I can't open a filling station there because the truck owners are not even prepared to go at the road where there is gravel for more than 100 kilometers. So it's a suffocation of our own economy. So I think oil and gas will be a bigger rescue to the economy. Let us all hold hands together. Let us all have the same hopes and same thoughts, and also respect tribalism to make sure that workers are involved in such very important projects.
I want to go further on this question. At present, how do you assess the state of tripartite relations between government, the employers, and workers? Is it what it should be?
It's a learning lesson. Tripartism came a long way. I think you are one of the people who were spearheading the issue of tripartism. And you see how difficult it has been for you to pull it. So there was a will. There is a will. But the way possibly is not there. Because if you only recognize tripartism only where you need the workers, when you don't need them, tripartism is not an issue. We made a mistake. Where tripartism is not an issue, but you are still going to use the workers to realize that people are afraid to bring workers together. People are afraid to workers to know what they are doing, as if we are planning to steal or we are planning to do injustice to ourselves or to the country. If tribalism is real, open the floor. Let everybody knows what we are doing. If we fail not because we wanted to fail. We failed because our plans was not proper and accurate. But not to plan as to how and where to steal and where to knock.
I understand you correctly. You're saying that the workers, representatives of the workers, should be involved equally with employers and government in all of the areas of development, and should have a say in what happens.
You see, how do you expect a worker to perform if you exclude them in the planning of his performance? You are planning for me to succeed or to be productive and to grow the economy. But during the planning session, you exclude them. You only take them at the risk. The last one you say, tomorrow you are going to do this one. You have done injustice to that person. Employers, when they have to do something, they go there. They call the workers. They speak and say, now we must expand this company. The productivity is becoming higher. We need more people. Let's expand. Possibly if you don't want to expand with manpower, say no, let's expand working hours from 8 to 12. So that we have more money, more salary for you. We pay you more overtime. You get more money. You can have double salary per month. Until at the stage where the company is pressurizing them to say, employ more people because now you need to expand. That's the productivity when you involve workers, when you involve employers, and government is involved. We will never have these unnecessary cases of strikes and things. Because we understand we have owned the company, we understand the company, we know the profit of the company, We know the disadvantages. During COVID, the unions were the first to say, let us put rules that will reduce the salaries a little bit in order for us to make sure the companies are getting a breathing space. It was not coming from the government. It came from us. We seated together in the office, in the board, and we proposed those rules. Some of the companies says no, those rules will not deal with us. They went to court and they said, abolish those rules. It's fine, it's illegal. But we were looking for a solution that would bring something that would bring a solution to the unemployment so that we don't lose workers. No, for them, the issue is to retrench is better.
Mm-hmm.
You have retrenched. We're also the one that we're proposing to say, no, those foods those food that are at the restaurants and lodges, they will get rotten for nothing. Because the tourists are not coming. Let's arrange with school hostels that are still working to absorb those food, to take it on the cost. It was still coming from the workers' federations. So we are not driven just to say, let's exploit the company until the company closes. We want to participate and understand the growth of the company and understand how we own the company together. Even if the company does not belong to us, we must feel that ownership in order for us to guarantee the economy of this country.
Now, there's been a process of labor law reform going on for some time, but how are the unions contributing to this process? And can you identify what you think would be the most important policy changes or legislative changes that are needed?
You see, Labor Act, when you do it, we have already put a proposal and it was handed over 2 weeks ago to the minister through the ED. See, when it comes to the labor law becomes a threat to the employers, more especially the employers and government. But the Labor Act is actually an act that must be protected by all of us in order for us to keep peace and to keep the wheel rolling in terms of economic growth. There's one thing that scratched my heart, and that I want to propose to be abolished completely, is the issue of no work, no pay. That if I had that right, I could have abolished that law. It's a torture to us as workers. Deliberately don't want to negotiate tough and unfairly and all those things. At the latest moment, you say, no, if you are going on strike, no work, no pay. The strike will be delayed for 3 months. After that, you calculate the workers' money that you are deducting from them and give them an increment with their own money. That is completely injustice to workers. And that's where I'm saying, scrap that law. If you scrap that law, you will never find any strike because everybody wants to resolve this matter as soon as possible.
If I can come in for just a minute, because it took me some time to understand clearly this demand of no work, no pay. What has been put on the table is that the laws pertaining to strikes are different for employers and for workers. There's not equality. The employer can lock people out as long as it wants to. It can keep, as you put it very nicely when you said they can keep people out of work, then they'll later agree to an increase based on the money that they did not pay them. But the fact of the matter is, it has been demonstrated that there is an imbalance in the laws. I'm hoping the reforms that come up will address this.
No, even if you want to reform a law, you must be sure this reform speak to the well-being of the economic contributors, whether you like it or not. The economic contributors of this world is the workers. And you must make sure you put laws that protect them, that happy them, in order for the wheel to turn faster in terms of economic. Now today we are enemies, tomorrow we must be friends. You torture me today, and tomorrow say, you must come in my cabin with a smile after I've tortured you. Where is the employers getting suffocated? What they do is, they go and hire people, they transgress the strike rules, go and put people to work for them, transfer from people from one company from Okahanja back to Windhoek or from Windhoek to Okahanja, where the strike is. It normalize the jobs and make these people that are on strike irrelevant. Is that the type of law that we want, what we must protect? That is completely a mess up for me. I think if we want to be fair, why are we not negotiating before time